Hello, guys. Welcome to TW Wrestling Talk. This episode talks about the June 4th edition of Raw. Um, bas- basically, Raw with mainly concerning the Cena Big Show story. I feel that they have they take one step forward, and that this past episode on Raw they've taken two steps backward. Um, for one, while Big Show wasn't present for this episode of Raw. He did have a bit of a vignette, a pre-taped interview, which to me was pretty good. It was came off pretty legitimate. It was pretty good. Probably if if to the people who don't know the history of Big Show's career. I mean, they act. I mean, the way the way he said how he's been trying to be like a joke or something, throughout his whole career. When obviously his career he's mostly been a heel. So, but to most fans wouldn't even, well, some of the casual fans like the kids, and they wouldn't know that really the history of Big Show. They would only know the past couple years, how, with his face run, but so I thought that was pretty good. But however, without Big Show in in the show itself, it just I think this Raw was a bit of a disappointment. Coming off of last week's Raw where Cena was the one who was absent and Big Show was kind of, he was the star of last week's Raw. This week it's like, the roles were kind of reversed, and Big Show was off, and Cena was like the star of the show. Um, but how he was the star of the show, I just I is I'm just beginning to wonder, is Cena beginning to turn into a joke? Um, so some of you guys would probably say no, no, and then others would say he's been a joke, dude. Um, and I can see why. Just 3 weeks ago, before Over the Limit, we had Cena joking on John Laurinaitis, and you know what came off as an Ace Ventura impression, Jim Carrey, with all his loser, that, and then the match at Over the Limit, the way Cena seems to have a fetish for fire extinguishers lately, as and dumping water or barbecue sauce on his opponents, which that brings us to the whole Michael Cole thing. It seemed to me that putting Michael Cole and John Cena, it just seemed like WWE's way of saying, well, Big Show's not here. We don't know what to do with Cena tonight, so we're gonna tease him and Michael Cole possibly in the main event, and which eventually did happen. Uh, but at least they threw a little bit of unpredictability in there, and they had to have Cena go through Tensei first. Um, which unfortunately, though, that was kind of a disappointing match, because like the first it seemed like the first time those two had a match together, Cena and Tensei, but the only difference being that Cena actually got his five moves of doom off, as we call them, and it seemed like that's all he did to win the match. It's I it feels like all like thing what WWE tries to do with Cena nowadays is just becoming so narrow that I mean, it just seemed like another fight match where Cena gets beat up almost the whole match with no offense until the very end of the match, where he does his shoulder blocks, his spin out slam, his five knuckle shuffle, nails the AA, and gets the win. I mean, it just seems like another case of deja vu. And then of course after, then he got to face Michael Cole, which kind of turned into a bit of a joke too. I mean, you know, because I'd much rather see, you know, I'd much rather be a fan of Cena if the art of pro wrestling was more of a part of him rather than, what seems to be him just going through the motions like week after week. I mean, this week, it's just another, you know, typical Cena win against Tensei, and then him just kind of joking around on Michael Cole because it seemed like they just didn't have anything better for him to do. I mean, it was mildly entertaining in the sense that they referenced JR's barbecue sauce and you know poured poured someone kind of tore his clothes apart. But at the end of the day, it's just it, I just look at it and I just think, is this, I just think Cena really needs to take, he really needs to like take time off and really, really like totally revamp his move set. I mean, it just continues to get more ridiculous how, it's like Cena's like just kind of a joke as of late. He's either goofing on someone in the ring, on on Michael Cole or John Laurinaitis, and or he just, and then he beats someone, with the same few moves after getting beat up the whole match. Almost like the Brock Lesnar match, where all he really did his only offense the whole match was hitting him with a chain and then the AA on the steps. I mean, that's great. I mean, that those are big moves, but is that all? Is that all he's gonna do to win? I mean, I was a little just kind of disappointed. Uh, I didn't, I didn't know that Big Show wasn't going to be on Raw tonight until they said he wasn't going to be. So I was looking forward to, seeing what both would do face to face tonight. But I guess we'll have to wait until next week to see them face to face. But again, it just goes to show you, Big Show held his own last week without Cena there. Um, he he was the star of the show in a way that, I think WWE needs a star to be for the show. Whereas Cena, it's like he's the star of the show because he beats Michael Cole and embarrasses him and just tries to do like the stand up comedy stuff, and I just think it's going a little too far. I mean, I've really seen enough. A lot of us have really seen enough of this whole thing. But I mean, just a lot of Cena's, loyal fan base. That I guess that's what they like to see. I guess that's all they, you know, that's all. As long as they see that from Cena, I guess they're happy, and I guess that's just why WWE decides to continue to, have Cena keep doing the same things over and over again, just to different people or whatever. But you know, this week, that story, I really think it without Big Show there, other than his pre-tape vignette, this story it took two steps backward after last week taking a nice step forward. So hopefully next week, hopefully things get better. I really think that Cena, that the WWE Championship, or I'm sorry, what I thought was going to be a WWE Championship match, CM Punk versus Kane, which I'll get to in a second. Just really thought that should have been the main event, not Cena against Michael Cole. It seems like Cena's in every main event, and I, I just think it kind of stinks because it just continues to kind of degrade the WWE Championship picture. So we'll see what happens next week there, but I'm just I'm just really having a fit with how Cena's being used as of late, and I mean, I know it's a really hard thing for WWE to do, but the the content, just everything Cena has been involved in lately just seems to be just comes off as weak. Just just putting that out there because it seems like they just want to do the same thing with him again. He could really use a revitalization of his career. Um, just some kind of character change, you know, whether it be a heel turn or whether it just be less goofing around and a more serious Cena that just doesn't, I guess, doesn't joke around as much. And of course, Cena with a lot more in-ring repertoire than what he gives us, and different match formulas than what we get almost every single match he's on Raw, and sometimes pay-per-views too. All right. Secondly, we have Kane beating CM Punk tonight. With I thought the match was before when they were announcing the match. I thought it was a little bit misleading that like there must be a winner. I didn't know what was that supposed to mean? Was that supposed to mean like a rematch for the WWE Championship, or you know there must be a winner? I I don't know. That just made me throw my hands in the air um, when when they announced that, and I mean it was an all right match. I mean, of course, as usual, it had its distractions and interferences, and you know, I didn't totally know what was going on just because I was confused as to what kind of ramifications it had on the WWE Championship picture. But I guess we'll see what happens on SmackDown since this story seems to you know go back and forth on Raw and SmackDown. So you know, I there needs to be more to it though. I mean, you know, feel like Cena was cut out to be the star of the show tonight, and I think the WWE Championship picture suffered this week. You know, with what they've done the past couple weeks with the Big Show Cena story, I think and given that all Cena was really gonna face tonight was Michael Cole, I really think they should have maybe pulled back a little bit on that story and made the WWE Championship uh, story a bigger deal on this Raw when all they really had was a match, nothing more. So we'll see. We'll see what happens on SmackDown. Hope they need to start making the WWE Championship a bigger deal than what they've made it the past you know some months. Cena and Big Show are going to be main eventing the pay per view. No Way Out. But they need to start getting back into the habit of making the WWE Championship the biggest you know the biggest story. It's okay every now and then to have something bigger than that. A bigger match. The Rock versus Cena, even Lesnar versus Cena. But I know I've said this before, but Laurinaitis and Cena, that did not need to main event the pay per view. And as much as I like Big Show as of late, you know, and as much as popular Cena is, that that match doesn't need to be the main event. But whatever. It does. It's not a huge deal, but it kind of is a big deal, just for the I feel kind of bad for CM Punk and Daniel Bryan and Kane that they're they're kind of just their stories being handled as if it was an Intercontinental Championship story. So but hopefully WWE changes that habit in the near future. All right, and lastly we have Ryback doing his Raw debut. Um, it, coincidentally, like earlier today, I was thinking to myself, you know, I think they should have Ryback on Raw soon. They should, they should have him, and coincidentally tonight they did. They had, I mean, it was a typical Goldberg squash match. You know, kind of the third handicap squash match in a row we've seen from him, where he takes both of his opponents and does his finisher on both of them. And um, but this I think for this, I think this one they wanted to. I think they tried to step it up a little bit though for him. The way he threw the one guy around, sky high in the beginning of the match, and how he would use one opponent as a weapon and throw him into the other guy. It was pretty cool. I mean, I think slowly they're they're trying to make him a bigger deal. Um, Putting him on Raw tonight, giving him a match was a good idea. Definitely. Uh, Not as many people watch SmackDown, and it was good to get him. It's good to get him some exposure on the A show. And tonight they did that. Now, as far as his jobbing goes, I think later this summer, I think hopefully he evolves out of just being a jobber. Um, well, jobbing, squash matching, whatever you want to call it. Um, because the way they're building him up, I mean, you know, and the way that Vince has said before that they last year that he has big plans for Ryback. So before he was even brought back, um, I think hopefully by towards the end of the summer that they're using him more efficiently. That that he's starting to get into bigger deal matches. Um, I think maybe Money in the Bank. I could see him maybe being getting in a story with that. Maybe they'll put him in the Money in the Bank match. Considering, I mean, the way he throws people around and stuff. I mean, I could see. I I can't say I see him winning a Money in the Bank match, but if they put him in one of them, or if they just do one Money in the Bank match this year, given the way the brand split's kind of out the window, if they, I could see him not winning a Money in the Bank match, but seeing him being in one, just because he could make it pretty exciting. Just the way he throws guys around, he could throw guys into ladders, or if he climbed a ladder and just threw someone off, and so there's a possibility there. Or you could see him in a story, maybe getting a feud with someone, get maybe leading up to SummerSlam, where he kind of has his not a big match against like a main event talent, but you know, maybe a match against Cody Rhodes level guy, or maybe someone like The Miz. Even well, he's not going to be around, but someone at that mid level, and not just I don't want to see him just continue to face jobbers and squash matches, because I mean it's making him look good, which is good for now. But he's eventually they have to have him mature from that. So maybe we'll see that happen um, in the coming next few months. I feel like there's something else I wanted to say. Also, I'm taking notice that the Goldberg chants that Ryback's been getting, it seems like they're kind of starting to fizz. They're not really starting to, you know, you don't really hear them anymore so much as we used to. So that's a step in the right direction, that he's you know, starting to get his respect, and starting to be more respected by, the fans, and that he's kind of evolving into himself, you know, coming into his own, I guess you could say. But we'll see where that goes. Hopefully, I'm hoping that sometime soon in the coming weeks, maybe that they give him some kind of something to say on the mic, or I was thinking like maybe a backstage interview before a match or something. Even even if like all he does is like even if all they do is like ask him like you have a match against so and so tonight, or you know probably the toughest challenger you've had yet in your career. What are your thoughts on that? And even if all he did was like maybe laugh at the interview or something, just walk away, or they just slowly. I hope they start to use him in other ways. Just to kind of build his versatility, so he's not just continue to squash guys. We want to see him. Eventually, we're gonna need to start seeing him. Doing some good wrestling, because if he wants to be at the top, which I could see him being up there. Um, you know, he's we're gonna have to see him be able to wrestle you know big long matches, and so we'll see how in the coming weeks and the coming months how Ryback is able to do that. And like I said, hopefully we see him maybe in some kind of an interview in the near future, or maybe do some kind of little promo, even if it's short and sweet. That'd be good, but it's be something we'd be interested to see. And hopefully, hopefully in the coming months that Ryback evolves out of his squash match phase, and starts becoming a bigger deal, starts having some more legitimate matches. And who knows, maybe I could if they go at the pace, if they evolve him at the pace that I could see working for Ryback. 2013, I could see him being a pretty big deal, and maybe in a pretty good match at next year's WrestleMania. All right, that'll wrap things up for this segment here of TW Wrestling Talk. Um, you know, I say it all the time. Please subscribe. Please get any friends to subscribe. Any fellow wrestling fans, or WWE Universe members as they call them, subscribe. I'd appreciate any comments, any questions to the channel, and stay tuned for the coverage of this coming week's SmackDown later this week. All right, take it easy.